How's it going? Fox back again. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make your own wavetables in Serum using virtually any audio sample that you've got on your hard drive or that you can drag from somewhere. Just a few tips and tricks that I use to get the best, the most quality sounding wavetables. So yeah, what do I do? I mean, where do I start? I normally just find any old thing. I've just been searching through a file I've got here. I think this was from a music tech CD. It's got a load of granular resynthesis samples in it. As you can hear, loads of crazy sounds. I mean, you're probably thinking most of these are too long to use, but they're not. I'm going to show you a neat trick of how to trim them down once you get them inside Serum. So first thing I'm going to do is load up Serum. How I like to do is just have the oscillator open and just drag the sound over that you want to use and drop it into Serum. So let's just pick one. It's quite a weird one, not much to it really, but this will make a good wavetable, I know. So how do I do it? I normally just drag it, hover it over, it gives you all of these options, normal, dynamic pitch. I ignore all of that. I always use FFT 2048. That means it uses the most amount of samples to create each individual waveform. Don't worry about it if you don't understand it, just use this one, trust me. Drag it, FFT 2048, bam, it's in there. Really quiet at the minute. Then we need to go into the processing window to get this to something that we can use. Doesn't look like it's got much in it at the minute. The first thing I always do in the process tab, this works on everything in the wavetable. If you're in single mode, this does things to the individual waveform that you're selecting. If you go into the process section, this is the one you want to be looking at. Normalize each gained separately. This increases the volume of each individual waveform or slice that you got in this box here and makes it as loud as it can. You're going to see it instantly. Bang. Now if we have a look at the wavetable, it looks a lot different straight away. There's a lot more in it than just those two pulses that it sounded like you have originally. I'm going to pitch this down. Still a bit big, still a lot more going on than what you definitely want to use for a wavetable. So the next thing I'll do is I'm going to trim it down. If we pick a section, I normally just split it in half generally. There looks like there's a lot going on in this first part for us to use. So if you cycle through the wavetable to about halfway, 72, whatever, half the number what it has to start with, then go back into the editor. We'll go into the add remove section. You want this one here. It removes selected to the end. So from the point where you are on the wavetable, anything after that it's going to get rid of. It then stretches the rest of the waves out to create the wavetable. Bit glitchy. One thing I always do in the morph section is morph spectral. Now crossfade, it just blends the volume between each waveform. I'll never use that, it doesn't sound natural, it's not nice when you're sweeping through a wavetable section. If you morph it spectrally, it actually transforms the wave to the next wave by morphing it into the shape. Don't ask me how it does it, but it's very, very clever. So morph spectral. This is going to be a lot more smoother now when we sweep through the wavetable. Still a bit too much going on. We're going to cancel out half of it again, so go halfway through. Add remove, remove selected to the end. Definitely sounds like something we're going to be able to use a bit more now. I might start to build a patch up as well while we're going through this. Let's just create a basic sort of growly wave shape. This is how I've been making most of my sounds for my new sound bank, just making my own wavetables. All of these wavetables that I do make are going to be available for you. and just circle through. Not normally do a short modulation part if it's too messy sweeping the whole wavetable. Let's make sure that's morph crossfade. It is. We're going to put this LFO on the volume as well, which means as the wavetable is sweeping through, it's increasing the volume and then it decreases it so it cuts off, you don't get any sustained tail. Bit of unison. Bend negative I like to use a lot. Process. Make sure they're all normalised again. Sometimes once you split the wavetable, it doesn't create extra wave shapes in there, but you might need to normalise it again. Apply this LFO to the bend as well. So that's very easily create a wavetable that you're going to be able to use. I instantly then save it. 23 wavetables so far for this new bank. There'll probably be 40 or 50 by the time I'm done. Let's apply that same technique again. We'll use a longer sample one this time. You want to try and avoid things that are too high pitched, unless you're going to drag them into Ableton and pitch them down. We'll do that actually. See, that sounds real metallic. There's not a lot of nice stuff going on, but it's going to be a bit too high pitched. You're going to have to pitch it down a lot once it's made into a wavetable. So if we drag it into Ableton, it automatically warps it if you've got that selected in your preference. If you change it to Complex Pro, if we pitch it down an octave, maybe 2. It's a lot deeper now. That's going to be a lot easier for us to use. So if we right click now this, consolidate this to make it its own sample, to then be able to drag this into Serum, you're going to need to right click in this window at the bottom, crop sample. Now we can drag that, create a wavetable out of this. If we solo this, now we've pitched it down, still sounds quite high. Imagine what it would have sounded like before. So we'll pitch it down a couple. Same process. So we're going to process, normalise each one to maximise it. We're going to spectrally morph it. Go to about halfway. Remove everything to the end. Process, normalise it again. Make sure everything's loud. I actually only like that section, so we're going to do away with everything else after that. Again, process, add, remove everything to the end. Some nice vowely tones in there. We'll apply this LFO to the volume again and to the wavetable. Might use a slower LFO for this one actually. Create the same sort of shape. Set it to 2 bars. Set it to envelope. The volume, we're going to need to use that volume. Remove all modulators. Use this as a volume for this one. Turn them both on. Use a bend negative again. It's not working with the 2 different volumes, so we'll stick to the LFO one. That's pretty much how I create my wavetables anyway. Just drag them in, normalise them, crossfade them spectrally, keep trimming the end of parts off that you don't want to. You get a nice chunk of a wavetable that you can use. I would then now definitely apply some multiband compression. Hyper distortion. Same LFO on the mix. Phaser, no rate, no depth. Control the frequency. Bringing a sub oscillator, and that's even without a filter. The filters I'm really liking lately in the multi are these bandpass notchy things. So let's try bandpass. Try and use the same LFO. So if we apply this then to the morph, it's going to change it from a bandpass to a notch. Actually, let's use a different LFO for that. Getting some transformy style sounds now. Let's try that fast LFO on the sub. And on the drive. Definitely sounded better there. Pitch a second oscillator downloads. I'm going to save that wavetable. I really like that one. Sometimes when the wavetables look constant, they can be really good if you just sweep them over a small part. 24. It's got a nice rhythmic feel to it now, with the growl sort of taking its own speed, and then that staccato LFO on 8th notes, giving it that zoom 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 zoom. What else would I do? I'll maybe apply a notch filter sweeping through it as well. Normal notch 24, or a high pass even. That's the only trouble with that pulsing LFO on the sub oscillator. It's carrying the volume on, but you could easily sort it out with your MIDI notes inside your track. Okay, I'll save that. I might actually use this as one of the patches in the bank. Nearly there now. I'm on 72 bass patches. I'm aiming for 90 bass patches, and the rest are going to be plucks and leads and pads just filling it out. So just quickly, we'll run through it again. We'll just pick another sample at random. Let's try something from this D&B Bank synth, MISC synths. Once my hard drive loads up. There you go, that's perfect. So drag it, FFT 2048. This is a good example when FFT, you might want to use a smaller sample rate. You can see that's broke that into just a few wave shapes. If we do it again, try it 512, bit more harmonic content. Sometimes short samples that are quite constant, you're going to want to use one of the lower rates, but as a rule, stick to the 2028. So yeah, process, maximize it, morph, spectral. Nice bit there. Already got the start of something gritty and dirty. That simple. Some of the other options that you got in here that you can do, you can remove morph tables. That removes anything that you've added on there spectral wise if you decide you don't like it. In the processing you can do all sorts. You flip the vertical edges. That's something that I do quite a lot. It's just changed it totally the opposite way around on the spectrum. Easy to get some good content out of virtually any sound if you just stick to those steps. Normalize each section, crossfade, and then just keep trimming it down to a part that you want. Well, there you go. That's how I make my wavetables in Serum. Very, very easy. If you're going to use samples that are inside your Ableton project, make sure you right-click, consolidate. Once it's consolidated, right-click in the window at the bottom and crop sample. If you don't, you're going to struggle getting it in there. I'll just show you an example. If we drag this faithless one in, turn on the oscillator. Oh, it is. If we time stretch it, then say if we pitch it down, take no notice of me. This sample must be processed already. But yeah, if you do struggle dragging one from your Ableton desktop, make sure you consolidate, right click, crop sample. Yeah, hope you learned something. Please subscribe. This sound pack is very, very near to being released. Check it out when it's done. Loads of great sounds. Okay, thanks for watching. Cheers.